Good morning. So, comfort eating and the what's the alternative mindset. If you're coming in, give me a hello. If you're on replay, drop a replay. It is Sunday, 27th of Feb. So, what I want to talk to you about today is a conversation I had a few days back where I was asked a question, is Diet Coke okay? Are sweet potatoes better than white potatoes? We were going into different things. Is it okay to eat after 8 p.m? All of these questions were coming up. Do I need to cut back on meat? Is sweet potato better than white potato? For sure. What if I have potato? I've read that you should eat raw. All of these things, like, should I just be skipping breakfast or should I be having breakfast? All these questions coming in. Now, bear in mind that one of the key focuses, and this is something that we do in our Kickstart when we look at, okay, what's the low-hanging fruit here? What's the one thing we can change in terms of your food, your fitness, and kind of mindset, self-care, accountability side of things. So one thing to change right now, and bear in mind that was snacking, comfort eating. Now we're asking a different question, because I could go into all day about, sweet potato, white potato. You could look at all the research that sweet potato is just slightly higher in vitamin A, white potato slightly higher in potassium. That's pretty much it. Anyway, so, and is a Diet Coke okay? All these things. So when we looked into this, okay, it was really their strive for being perfect, the strive for hitting perfection. Okay. Good morning, Mary. So the strive for perfection was really the issue here. Now, what I wanted to go through here is to ask the question of what's the alternative? So when you say things like, should I have a Diet Coke? What's the alternative? What would you have instead if you didn't have one? Because if a Diet Coke, if sugar-free jelly, like I talked about the other week, like coming back and having a big pot of sugar-free jelly, which I can chuck some blueberries in, etc., fruit in there, and knowing that that's something there. And if what's the alternative to that? If I just kind of wanted something, well, it's like 50 odd calories. What's the alternative to that? And it's about moving in the right direction here. And yes, having alternatives. 2, having a bit of a plan and giving yourself permission to not be perfect. Because yes, we talk about, I always talk about hot Ribena as well. And, you could say, but it's got sweetener in, and it has. And maybe, if you have sweetener, you live to 120 as opposed to 121. Like, they're the differences we're talking about here. Tiny differences. And in here, you've got to think about the benefits as well. Because when we're in that perfection mindset, we think that every decision we make has to be superior, the best one. So when you go into that space, you're only looking at the benefits of the choice. So sweet potato, surely that's better. For some aspects, yes. Surely not having sweetener is better then. Well, technically water's better. Although some studies actually just suggest that the Diet Coke can beat cravings, which is kind of what we're talking about here. Interesting. Anyway, and make you eat less calories. And that's my point here. We never look at the benefits of what it actually brings. So what does that second-rated choice or third best choice actually do for you? Well, when I do the third best choice, like, I don't know, let's say I don't drink Diet Coke, but I do have those sparkling flavoured waters. I love them. Like passion fruit, apple and pear. Okay, let's say I have one of them and some sugar-free jelly. What would I have had instead? That's a question to ask. If I have a hot Ribena, okay, what would I have had instead? Now, think of the benefits of that. Well, I've now lowered my calorie intake. And if you're trying to lose body fat for whatever reason, whether that's linked to mobility, whether that's linked to how you want to look, the clothes you want to wear, whether it's linked to health outcomes, whether that's around, be it diabetes, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, heart disease, whatever it is, because we know that fat is inflammatory, excess body fat is inflammatory. So if that's your goal, but then you're worried because you read somewhere that you've got to eat vegan because of this, and you've got to eat not past 8 p.m, you can't ever have that, it becomes just a minefield, really. And then almost that little monkey on our shoulder goes, it's too confusing, isn't it? It's too confusing. Just don't bother. And we need to just be aware of that and call that out sometimes. Our strive for perfection, when we know that actually, even when you look at the people who get great results, they're never perfect. It's just the gap between where they are right now and when they just fall off it a little bit, gets shorter and shorter. So rather than giving up on Wednesday and starting again on Monday, they might give up on Wednesday, start again Thursday morning, start again Wednesday night. And the shorter the gap, the better. So let's make this a bit more practical. What I want you to do, just grab a piece of paper, is just identify where you are. Let me share my screen. Where you are on this scale here, okay? So if we have a scale, I can't believe I'm drawing. So that's 1 to 100 in on here. So we've got a little scale across there. Feel like Art Attack. Remember Art Attack? Art, not heart, luckily. So we've got 1 to 100 here. Now, most people, we kind of recommend go for about a 70-30. And what I mean by this is 70% perfection. So you kind of 70% of what you are doing, whatever that diet means for you. Okay, so morning, Karen, whatever that diet means to you, about 70% of the time you're kind of doing it, 30% you're not. If you wanted to go a little bit tighter, you would obviously get quicker results there, 80-20, 90-10. And we assume though, and the reason I'm writing this is we assume that if we went to 100, we'd get results really quickly. But actually, we often don't, because what are we missing out on now here? The psychosocial benefits, right? So we've got the psychosocial benefits we're now missing out on. That says psychosocial. Because maybe we never eat out. Maybe it's difficult to ever go to a restaurant. Now, if we then come back round here, let's say you fall off the wagon, you're here now. Oh, I'm rubbish. All you've got to do is just go back to where you were. That's it. Don't dwell, because actually, one, you might have even given yourself permission for this. And when you give yourself permission for this, it becomes okay, because it's part of the plan. Can you see how actually it's your thoughts about the thing rather than the thing itself? If you aim for always being perfect, you'll probably be less perfect, more imperfect than if you just aim for 80%, 70%. And don't beat yourself up. Like this week, one of the ladies, she was like struggling with the biscuits in the office, and she was like, oh, it's just every day. Then she went 3 days with just going, oh, I just didn't have one today. Then she had one yesterday. And I was like, cool, look at that. There's not enough to be said about winning that. Like, that's 3 more days than you would have normally. Over time, if you just commit to that is significant in terms of results. Massively significant. So, I hope that helps. Any questions, let me know. If you want more information about our Kickstart that starts in March, send over a message and I'll get you the details. Take care. Speak soon.